Hello and welcome to the No Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today we're talking about the NBA Finals that's been going on. We've been holding off on talking about that. We're going to talk about the Desmond Bane move. We might talk a little bit about some Durant stuff, some other things. It's going to be an interesting podcast as we're wrapping up this first season here covering the NBA. Before we get to all of that, Sheldon will have a trivia question for us. Sheldon, what do you have for me today?
All right, Pat. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this one will stump you. It's a little finals trivia for you. Game 3 of the 2015 NBA Finals was won by the Cleveland Cavaliers when an unlikely player scored 20 points while playing solid defense against Steph Curry. Who was that player that was born in Australia?
This is the Iguodala game. Or Della
Wait.
Vedova game. Wait.
Yes. It's correct. The Curry stopper himself, Matthew Dellavedova. I think he earned a contract after that. I forget which team though, but he got a big contract in that crazy offseason. But yeah, the Curry stopper, Matthew Dellavedova. That's correct. I didn't think I was gonna get you with that one, Pat, but I just wanted to throw a little one in there. I got a little worried though when you said Iguodala. I was like, wait a second.
It was the Iguodala series.
Yeah.
I almost fucked it up. But yeah, that would have been a rough one to go out on for sure. Yeah, we're done with trivia. I passed it. Where do you want to go to now?
I guess we should go to the Pacers series, right? Game 6 tonight, or
Yeah,
game
that would
5,
make
excuse
sense.
me. Game 5 tonight. Pacers Thunder. Kind of going how I kind of thought it would. I said there wouldn't really be any big leads. I felt like it would be pretty even throughout the series. That's what we've gotten so far. Last game I think is one that we should probably talk about just because the Pacers were up pretty big, or not big, but they had a pretty commanding lead there with 4 points up 4 to go. It looked like it was going to be a game down to the wire. Then the Pacers kind of just stopped scoring. I thought SGA was incredible last game, especially down the stretch. I think that the Thunder did a great job of. They would have Jalen Williams bring the ball up. SGA would kind of set a off ball or set a screen to get Aaron Wiggins on him, and Aaron Wiggins got cooked for like 3 minutes straight before fouling out. SGA made him foul, got past him. Really good stuff by the Thunder to recognize that matchup and really attack it. And another thing that did was it ended up making Mathurin come in to the game. Mathurin, he committed 2 big inbound fouls that I think led to free throws, and then he also missed 3 of 4 free throws in that fourth quarter, which was huge. So yeah, but I think last game that was big. The Thunder showed up. SGA showed up as the MVP. Really dropped, I think, 14 points in that last quarter. He ended up with like 35 on the game. Something I thought was interesting, Pat. They kind of went to Hallie a lot down the stretch there. The Pacers did, and a lot of iso ball, which isn't really the Pacers like game. I felt like they could have gone to Siakam a little bit more down the stretch. Like Hallie and that iso ball is usually good when you want a last shot when the clock's running down in a game. But I felt like when you have 24 seconds on a shot clock, let Siakam work. He's been your best player for the whole, your best offensive player for the whole year, the whole season, just scoring the ball. We've been talking about it a lot. Like when you need a bucket, who do you go to? And that's Siakam. And I think they got away from that a little bit there, and ended up hurting them. But what have you been thinking overall so far in the series?
Yeah, I've thought it has been really an awesome series. Game 1 was amazing, and then Game 4 was also great. Crazy. Stephen A. Smith sitting in pretty solid seats playing solitaire on just during the game, just quite disgraceful. But yeah, Game 4 was awesome. Like you said, I really wish they went to Siakam more in those type of situations. That's kind of what we've ID'd Siakam as being their X factor in that type of a situation. Half court offense, that's kind of your guy. He can generate a relatively efficient shot in the half court. And then even like when it isn't Siakam, I really don't like the ISO ball for them because they can get guys running off screens. They can get staggered screens at the top of the key that they ran basically every play against the Knicks to try to get some of the poor Knicks defenders into actions. And I know OKC doesn't have those actions, but it still is a lot harder to defend than some of the more stagnant offense they had at the end of the game. I thought their offense for really the first long time of the game was awesome. I thought Indiana played much better than OKC for majority of the game. Shot quality was much better for them. OKC, it looked like everything was really difficult and a real struggle. A lot of that compounded with them. I think they shot 3 of 17 from three, and I think 2 of them were in the fourth quarter. They were shooting terribly. And even when they weren't shooting threes, it looked really hard for them to get decent looks at the rim. And I would say the game was very much, even though the score wasn't super one-sided, it was very Indiana one-sided through the first 3 quarters of the game. I think there's through the first 3 quarters of the game too, it really felt like Shea um um I thought Shea was very disappointing for me through the first couple of quarters of the game. And he showed up in the clutch time. I think there was a point in the game where he picked up his 4th foul in the middle of the fourth quarter, and he goes to the bench for a second, and I was like, whoa, this is a huge misplay. Like, why are we... I know he's not been great for y'all, but he still needs to be in this game, and I think they thought it was his 5th foul, and they threw him back in. Not a huge, like, strategic part of the thing. I think it was just a misplay by them, but Jalen Williams was excellent. It felt like he did an excellent job filling in for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander when he really struggled in the first half. Just really good creating on ball, mainly for himself. I think Shai had 0 assists throughout the whole game. Like you said, they put Jalen Williams on ball.
Yeah, 0
Um,
assists. That's right.
yeah. So they put J-Dub on ball a lot more, and it really was something that was beneficial for them because the guys they're putting on Shea have typically been their more disruptive playmakers, like a Nemhard or a Nesmith. It's been more Shepherd than Nesmith in this series, but yeah, that was really good for them. Getting Nesmith switched onto him, I think was always going to be a good thing. And then later down the stretch, they went to a good bit of Mathurin on him, and we can talk about Ben Mathurin on him. Ben Mathurin, I'll just get out the way. It was probably like the worst minute of finals play from a single player ever. Enough dunking on Ben Mathurin. He's a very good player and has had some great games this playoffs. But just it was really weird. I felt like OKC was really lucky to pull that one out, and Shea had 14 all in clutch time. And Chet, I'm kind of concerned about what the injuries look like with him. And I think the other big thing about Game 4, because we talked about Indiana potentially being able to maybe run on OKC when they have both bigs out there. They right away from the jump of the series start Cason Wallace for the first 3 games, and I thought that was awesome. Just strategically, it was like a wash. Honestly, it didn't necessarily help them too much. And then in Game 4, they go back to starting 2 bigs, and I don't necessarily think it gave them a huge advantage, but I would rather have 30 Hartenstein minutes than 30 Cason Wallace minutes. And the other guy getting 18 minutes in those situations. I kind of want to see Caruso just kind of start for them. Start Caruso, start Dort, Chet, and then the 2 stars. And then Chet Holmgren in Game 4, especially, when he is at his best, it's looked very solid this series. The shot will come around. In Game 4, it was really disappointing me. He's just like a lot of the baskets given up. Say that again.
Are you talking about Chet?
Yeah. What?
Are you talking about Chet? That was very
Yeah.
disappointing to you. Okay, okay.
Um, it feels at times in this series he's been like really physicality shy, and it's led to offensive rebounds for Indiana. It's led to OKC just kind of like being able to say, hey, like Miles Turner's just gonna stay in front of you because he can bump you off of your line, while playing legal defense. And I would say Chet in Game 4 was really great crashing the offensive glass. I think he had like 2 or 3 putbacks in the last quarter of the game, and impressed me a little bit. Fought through some injuries. I'm hoping that the calf is okay with him, and yeah, we'll just see. I mean, do you have anything on like the lineups aspect of this series? Because I think that's another interesting part of it.
Um, I don't have not too much on the lineup standpoint. No.
Um, have you been moved at all by this series so far?
Have I been moved?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I feel like I like the Pacers in seven. I think if the Pacers win tonight, this series is going to seven 100%. You can pretty much guarantee it. The Thunder will not lose Game 6. Game 7 is another story. Um, I think for the Pacers to win tonight, they do need to adjust just a couple things. I think throwing some double teams at Shea or just doing something to Shea, making him be more of a passer and not having him go out there and score 35 points and having no assists at all. Make someone else beat you. I don't really want that person to be Jalen Williams just because he showed that been a very consistent scorer throughout this playoffs and hasn't really had too many like really bad games. Um, so I think maybe you let you if Caruso ends up starting or when Caruso's on the court, you double team Shea and let Caruso be that guy that's shooting open threes or driving to the basket. Not saying that he doesn't have the ability to do it, but can he do it at the level that Shea is going to do it, at the level that Jalen Williams is going to do it? I don't think so. Even leaving Chet in some of those opportunities, I think could be big. Um, and I think Miles Turner could step up a little bit. I feel like that he's hasn't had like quite the impact that he's had throughout the playoffs, like in the Cleveland Cavaliers series and the Knicks series, especially with his floor spacing because he hasn't really been hitting his 3 pointers. And another thing I noticed, kind of like you said, the lack of physicality. Like I feel like in this series, there's been a lot of putback dunks, like uncontested, like really easy stuff. On the putback stuff and a lot of ball watching, like when the ball's bouncing off the rim. Just something I noticed, but I like Pacers in seven still. Um, I think that Benedict Mathurin, he's an X factor off the bench. He had 27 points in Game 3, a game that they won. I think TJ McConnell's huge off the bench. He's been a playmaker, a spark guy. What did he have? 10, 5, and 5 in Game 3? Something 5 steals, 5 assists, 10 points, and really timely steals for him. And Obi Toppin last game. It was really good. I thought not only shooting the ball but driving to the rim. There was one instance when it was literally a tie game or a 3 point game, I think, and then Obi Toppin it's 2 3 pointers within a minute, and now it's a 9 point game. So he's been really great off the bench, and this Pacers team is really deep at it. That we talked about it all series, but they're even playing to a higher level than what they usually do, and that's what we see from championship teams. Pat, it's guys that are coming off the bench, role players, and they exceed. They're playing to a level that they exceed. We saw it kind of in Miami's run with Strus and another one of the shooters that they had there. I think Gabe Vincent. But I think the Pacers in seven, huh?
And
What?
Cody Martin too.
Oh, and Cody Martin, yeah. So like there's 3 guys right there, and then we just talked about 3 of them. And also Pascal Siakam and Halliburton have been really great this series. So I think if Miles Turner just steps it up a little bit and gives him, he's been hesitant, Pat, especially down the line. He doesn't really want to pull the 3 pointers, and Miles Turner usually is like he'll catch it and throw it right up. So there's a lot of stuff to look at. I do like the Pacers in 7 though for those reasons still. Yeah, because I mean they've been scoring on this Thunder's defense. Like if they didn't go through that lull in the last 3 minutes of that quarter, they would have had like over 110. So yeah, it's been really impressive to watch.
I think the big thing for Indiana too is like they have they've gotten good Halliburton games. They haven't had a great one yet. I feel like they will get a great Halliburton game at some point throughout the series. It looks like Indiana's kind of figured out the defense a little bit. You can kind of get a little bit more off of screens. They've had difficulties doing some handoffs a little bit more than they usually have, and I think they've started to iron those things out a little bit. They figured out a lot of ways to get Siakam, at least get him favorable touches, and then uh, they were able to limit Shea's driving game a little bit earlier in the series, and it led to OKC doing a good adjustment. One, sending him off ball a little bit more, and then two, getting the ball in the post a little bit more, which if you're in the position of Indiana, you kind of like that because he is making less passes from that type of a position um, throughout his career. He just hasn't done it as much, even though he still is a good scorer from that position. You can tick at that a little bit. I'm still waiting for the zone defense to pop out. Indiana barely ran it in the regular season. OKC did it a little bit in game 3 or 4. They pulled it out for a couple of possessions when the Pacers had some bench lineups out there. And like we talked about it with the Denver and respectively how Minnesota didn't implement any zone defense. I think running a complex zone defense that you really are paying attention to who is where versus just the normal distribution of players on the floor. Like, well, if Jalen Williams is on this side of the floor, then we need to send one guy a little bit more this way. I think running a non-vanilla type of zone defense is the way to get OKC because you can get guys like Dort and Caruso and Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe doing things that they can do, but they're not as comfortable doing them. And I think the big weakness that I would point to with OKC is they don't have a ton of like finishing versatility outside of their 2-star players. I think if you get Caruso or Dort off of a straight line, it's harder for them to finish. And like sometimes Hartenstein doesn't look at the rim, and Chet Holmgren, you can bump him off of a spot. You can do those type of things. Cason Wallace plays a little sped up at times. Like there are little things that you can take advantage of with them, and at times I feel like their offense can really get bogged down just by kind of the way of selection or the way they process their shots a little bit, even though they're still going to be a great offense because they have an MVP caliber player. But yeah, I would say this is still a winnable series for Indiana for those reasons. I hope Carlisle cooks something up with them, and I think if they're going to be able to pull some things out, it's going to have to be like find some creative ways to get Mathurin going downhill, or find some ways to get Siakam post touches, or Aaron Nesmith coming off screens, because I'm confident in Tyrese Halliburton showing up and giving you 20 and 10 every game. Like I don't think that's something that they have to really game plan for. And if Halliburton goes on a burner, then he's going to end up with 30 and 12, and he's that great of a player. Even greater than he is as a player, I think he has a top 5 nickname in the league. I'm interested in what you have to say about it.
Is it the the Halle band? Is that the one we're talking about? I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I liked it when it started in the New York series. And he's been living up to the name. So it's one of the more fun nicknames in the league, I think.
I think so too. I think the finals running at the same time as the documentary. Did you see that?
Yeah, and it was like they called him the Pacer.
They called him the Pacer, and there was another connection to Halliburton that I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's perfect. The scripts write themselves. Indiana's playoff run. Where do we think? I mean, everybody's done the talks about it. Where does this playoff series or playoff run for Indiana rank for you? Just in general. It doesn't have to be a all-time type of thing, but
I think it's definitely one of the better ones because I think before the season they weren't given a shot. The preseason odds, the Suns had a better chance. the Pelicans. The Pelicans had a better chance to win the finals than the Pacers did. And then you look at what they've had, what they went through. Like if we look at the like them beating the Cavs, like a pretty healthy Cavs team, I think was really impressive. I think them handling the New York Knicks in 6 games was very impressive. And handing the Cavs in 5, or right, Cavs in 5.
Yeah, Cavs. Yeah, they
Yeah,
beat
I
the.
mean that's really impressive. And yeah, Indiana, yeah. So I think it definitely ranks up there with I think it ranks above the Dirk run. I think the Dirk Mavs
Potentially.
run, potentially. We'll have to see if they can finish it off. But just like the fact that this Thunder team is so good too, if they were able to beat this Thunder team, that'd be incredible. Like not like this is one of the best defenses in the league. It's one of the best offenses in the league. You have the MVP on the team in SGA. You have a pretty good home court advantage, home court atmosphere. Um, so yeah.
I think.
What about you, Pat?
I think if they can finish the job, then there's a conversation to be had with that 2011 Dirk run. I think there's a Rockets here that we can definitely talk about as well in that conversation. Yeah, it's one of, I think with the comeback stuff too. How they've won like 4 or 5 like 99% win probability games, and the
Insane.
graphic.
Insane.
Yeah, the graphic after game 1 where the largest lead and then the time of possession graphic where it was like OKC's largest lead was at 10:05 in the fourth quarter with 15 points, and then um Indiana's largest lead was a 1-point lead with 0.3 seconds left on the clock. I think that picture encapsulates what this playoff run has been. You can easily chop it down to an out of nowhere team that caught a little bit of injury luck, but you and I both know they would have cooked Milwaukee. They would have had a chance against Cleveland. They probably a better team than the Knicks, and then here they are. Just crazy that they're here. So, yeah. Do you want to talk any more final stuff?
Let me see if I had anything else. Yeah, let's see what happens this game. I mean, big favorites are the Thunder in this one. Looks so not really what I was expecting. I feel like this was going to be a really close game. I got the Pacers winning tonight. Um, I think it's huge. I mean, this is a must win for them. I think because winning 2 is really hard, and if you get to play one at home with the chance to lose, I think that's really good. So I think they come out here and win game 5. And for it's a pivotal game 6, I think on Tuesday. I feel like it would be, or Wednesday, one of those days.
One of them. One of them.
Probably Wednesday.
Probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it'd have to go back to Indiana.